Hello, sports fans. Mauricio here. Well, it's time to do something a little more useful. Now it's time to update the customers table after the invoice is completed. This is starting to get a little complex. You may not think so, but we have the sales data in the sales details table, and we need to go update the customer. We're going to update the customer's recency column. When's the last time they bought something? Last purchase. So later on you can categorize your customers based on the last time they bought. Was it 3 days ago, or was it 3 months ago, or was it 9 months ago? So you can categorize your customers later on based on doing a date diff calculation, how many days ago type thing. We're going to update how much revenue was brought in, and number of sales. So number of sales is frequency. And other metrics I was thinking of were number of SKUs. So how many total SKUs did this customer buy? Or on average, how many SKUs do they buy on each invoice? That's very interesting to marketers. Is this a customer that buys one or two things? Is this a customer that buys one or two things but a lot of it? Or is this a customer that buys many things but just a little bit, etc.? So the example I use is when I go to Walmart, I have, checkout, I have 50 products, one of each, perhaps. And I see students that have one product but 50 units of one product, cases of beer. So there are different types of customers. One SKU, many SKUs on the average of one line item or many line items. And so those are other metrics that you can put in. By the way, MIS is a fascinating major in that nobody cares what technology you know. However, if you can use technology to solve problems, then you'll get bonuses, etc., etc. So, big deal. You can write an update set statement. Yeah, that's nice. A lot of people can. But can you use an update set statement and then go update information about your customers that might be very insightful and help you categorize customers and market differently to different categories of customers in different regions? Now we're talking very useful. So if you can, on a job interview, talk about the metrics you made or the systems you made to help develop business, now that's useful. If you say, I know how to write an update set statement, that's a yawner. So I encourage you to play and think about systems. And my strongest recommendation is to work on your final project throughout the semester, not at the end. That way you can practice, and then practicing is studying for exams. So we also could put in total profit. We have total revenue, but we could have another column called total profit. So this is a little tricky in that we have to update the customers table, but we have to get the data from the sales details table. And let's take a look at the sales detail table. This invoice has got 3 line items. So we need to, we're just going to add one to the number of sales. So that's easy. But we need to figure out what the revenue is. So we need to add that up. So go over the sales details table, add up the LineTotal column for that invoice, and then add that to the total revenue column just for this one customer. And that's what this line of code is trying to do. So you can't really tack on this update code to the end of adding a line item to an invoice, because you don't know what's the total revenue for the invoice until the invoice is completed. And so we do need some data, and so in this case, you know, you already could pull data from the insert line item procedure. If we could tack on somehow this update to the end of the insert a line item, that'd be pretty easy. But now what we need to do, because that's not appropriate in this case, we need to do is go fetch. We need to go fetch the invoice data and then get the invoice date and then figure out what the total for the invoice is and figure out who the customer was. So, I mean, we just know the sale ID number. We don't know who the sale ID was. So this is a little tricky. So I'm going to show you a way to go fetch the pieces of information, invoice date, revenue, customer ID, for that sale, in this case 70. So you have to get that too. So I'm going to show you I don't think it's too hard of a way to do it, but maybe later in the semester I'll show you a much more advanced way of doing it. However, there's some learning that needs to happen first. So this is a clumsy but brute force way of doing it, and later on I'll show you something more elegant. So I'm messing with the this particular stored procedure, and I just have the code here from that stored procedure, and let's take a look. So first we need to go update the customer for the last invoice that just got completed. What's the name of the invoice? Well, let's go ahead and figure that out. So select max sales ID is, you could also do min, but that's getting the highest number, so that's the most recent. So go get the most recent sale ID from the sales details table, and then go figure out what customer that was. So select distinct customer ID. By the way, this distinct may be necessary, may not be necessary. So we have 3 line items for sale ID 70. So this code says get the customer from sales ID 70. So that we got the invoice number makes the next query possible. If we left out the distinct, we might get 3 values because there's 3 rows. So just to get one instance of that customer ID, in this case, we do select distinct. That is a keeper. Select distinct. For example, if you have a list of data and it has state in there and the list is 10,000 rows, it's very hard to pull the states out of that column because there's 10,000 rows of data. But if you did select distinct state from table name, then you would get a short answer pretty quick. All right, so what customer is it? I don't know. What's the customer from the what's the customer from that invoice? Okay, 2002. Well, Burl Lives. And so this is just showing who that is. This thing's all build on each other, so gotta run them all. So there's that guy, and the messages are still in the other area. All right, so now sum up. Now that we know who the customer is, let's go ahead and total the revenue. So this is a little bit different also. So it's not go get me the highest number from a column, or go get me the number from a column, go get me value from the column. Now go total a column. So select sum totals a column. Some will be used later. Pretty soon we'll get to it, where you do a group by query where you total things and group the totals by different things. For example, red, blue, green, yellow, colors of clothing, for example. So let's see what the value is for revenue. So these print statements are pretty handy, right? So 458 totals those 3 rows. Okay, so now that we have those pieces of information, sales ID, customer ID, revenue, Oh, we need one more. Okay, invoice date. Well, what was the invoice of that? What was the invoice date of that invoice? So I'm building. This is very verbose, but I'm building it one step at a time, and maybe I'll show a little bit of a shortcut just in a second. So this is what you get if you don't use the select distinct. It doesn't always do this, but it sure did it today. So when you get this, you got more than one value. So we're trying to put more than one value into one variable, one date time variable. So let's go ahead and fix that with the select distinct. There we go. So August 20th is the date. And again, there was 3 rows. So it brought back 3 dates, and we're trying to put that into one local variable. It doesn't work. Now that we have all this data, we can go ahead and do our update set. But let me show you one little. So just to sidebar for a second, it very much helps if you use really nice formatting. So declare a variable equals, and again, this could be set. This could be 2 lines, set variable equals, but you can declare it and set it at the same time. But I put the select statement on its own line, and maybe you might want to make it look, that actually feels very nice. And so your cognitive load goes down if you use indenting. And so the idea is that these 2 lines of code go with this line of code, and declare the variable and then print the variable kind of go together. But so the more time you spend on indenting, I think the faster you learn. You let me know if I'm wrong. All right, so we're pulling different values out of the sales details table for one invoice number. And this little gem of a query right here can do that same thing that we just did. Go get the customer ID, go get the revenue, which is the total, go get the invoice date. But this little gem right here can get all of those pieces of information all at once. But how do you use this in the update set statement? Aha, that's what the advanced content is, but we're not ready for it yet. But just as a little peek ahead, this is a group by query. So go sum the line total by totaling the data from the sales detail table for sales ID 70. I also want the customer ID and invoice date. So I'm going to also I'm getting 3 columns, and you see those 3 columns right here. But if you're going to group use a group by query, then whatever dimensions you have in the select statement, you have to put in the group by statement. So this sum is, not that I would indent it, but this sum is a metric. So we have dimensions, and then we have metrics, or some type of total. And so there is an easier way to do this, but never mind that for now. That was your first look at a group by query. Don't even worry about it. We're not even ready for that. But now we should be able to run this code. So this code gets these 3 values and then uses them to update. So let's see the before and after. So this customer has 8 sales. So we're going to pull the data, which we already have actually before, and then pull the data after. So time to cross our fingers and just hit execute. I have so many select statements in here. Let's pull some out. All right, so here you go. I've been clicking it a few times. I had a bunch of extra code in here, so clean as you go. But we went from 11 to 12, and so everything's working. And I hope you enjoy this content and practice your update sets often. Take care.